changing the name of something doesn't change what the actual symptoms are. For instance, a good comedian named George Carlin, who got mad at euphemism and euphemistic talk, saying that cripples were fine for hundreds of years until he said, no, you can't call people crippled anymore. They're handy-capable, or they're handicapped, or differently abled. Okay, but what does that do? Nothing. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't change the result of what your initial diagnosis is. Here's what we got. Coronavirus changes name, but risk remains. See, it's just ridiculous. The coronavirus has been named COVID-19. The World Health Organization chose it to avoid stigmatizing a particular group, animal, or location. How does it do it? Coronavirus. Simple. Right to the point. COVID-19 sounds like, I don't know, some video game character's secret name. Officials have, however, warned that the epidemic, which has now killed over 1,110 people, poses a global threat akin to terrorism. We now have a name for the disease, and it's COVID-19. WHO Chief Tedros blah 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 told reporters, having a name matters to prevent the use of other names that can be inaccurate or stigmatizing. Oh yeah, let's change it so we can get confused more. Ridiculous. So we can go to this. So China changed how they're reported. They're up to 15,000 coronavirus cases, 254 additional deaths. Let's start from the bottom here. Wow. We'll go back to 10:40 a.m. Says Hubei changes the method of reporting. Health authorities of Hubei province said Thursday that clinically diagnosed cases accounted for much of the increase in the confirmed case count, resulting in a surge in new confirmed cases for the prior day. You see, the thing is that the Chinese never tell the truth. I know what you're going to say. You're talking about every Chinese is lying. No, I'm not. The problem is that you can't trust a communist government such as China to tell you the truth. And why would they? They would just let it, whatever. So Hong Kong extends school closures for a third time. China's military sends more medical personnel to Hubei. China's military is sending 2,600 additional medical personnel to help primarily with the virus control efforts in Wuhan. The first batch of 1,400 personnel arrived in Wuhan Thursday. Adding the military has dispatched a total of 3 branches of more than 4,000 medical personnel. Well, I'm willing to bet that's not necessarily all medical personnel, that it's there to pull down the population to make sure they don't go out and speak about it, if you will. China replaces Hubei chief. Yeah. Let's fire the people unless they're up to something. As a shakeup is occurring among senior ranks in the virus epicenter of Hubei, amid heavy criticism on how officials there have managed the outbreak. Shanghai's mayor Ying Yang will replace Zhang Xiaoling as party secretary of the Hubei province, Chinese state news agency Xinhua. It was a decision made by the Central Committee of the Chinese Party, of course. The party's secretary, Jin Wang Zhouling, is also set to replace Ma Wajing. These names are killing me. 44 new cases on the Diamond Princess cruise ship. Ah, yes. Those guys are hosed. Another 44 people on the Diamond cruise ship have tested positive for the coronavirus, according to Japan's health ministry, bringing the total of 218 affected on the ship. Woo! Not cool. China's national level infection and death numbers delayed again. Imagine that. Hubei province extends work shutdown again. You see, all this news reporting, you got to understand, this coronavirus is a lot worse than you think. Or I dare say, it's a conspiracy theory. Really? I don't think this is a conspiracy theory. This is more conspiracy fact. Chinese auto sales plunge in January, Industry Association says. Yeah, not good for China and their sort of lagging economy. China says no new confirmed cases of foreigners with coronavirus. That they're telling you. China confirms 15,150 new cases, 250 additional deaths. In a Thursday press conference, which is today, China said it confirmed those cases and those deaths. That brings the total death toll to 1,367, and infected hit nearly 60,000 people. Health workers in Hubei have been using a new method to diagnose the virus this week. Yeah, probably a 9mm bullet to the head. Previously, infections were only allowed to be confirmed with nucleic acid tests, which can take days to process. Hubei province is now using CT scans, which can diagnose the virus more quickly. Global oil demand set to see first quarterly decline in over 10 years. Imagine that. Global oil demand is now expected to see its first quarterly contraction in over a decade. Demand is now expected to fall by 435,000 barrels a day, which would make sense when you got a huge number of people in China not using fossil fuels. Imagine that. Travel slump spreads to China to Asia Pacific region, data shows. Coronavirus is causing travel demand to slump across the whole of Asia Pacific region. Imagine that. That's not racist. That's being smart and vigilant. As February 19th setback looks likely to be most marked in Northeast Asia, where outbound bookings for March were behind. Japan will send 10.3 billion yen to fight the coronavirus, Abe says. All right. Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi, I think, warns of first quarter smartphone hit. Of course, when people are looking out for their own health, buying new smartphones is sort of on the back burner. The chief executive of the maker, Xiaomi, said the disruption caused by the coronavirus outbreak could impact first quarter sales. But CEO Lei Jun said Thursday that he believes demand will bounce back in the second or third quarters. That's if, it gets better. But you notice these numbers keep going up. Due to the outbreak of the virus, this year's first quarter smartphone sales will face impact, but we believe that in the second and third quarters, they will strike back. Overall, the impact might not be that serious. Of course, he's got to say it might not that be serious because, Chinese Communist Party. Imagine that. Imagine that.